Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're looking at a truly beautiful, just incredibly heartwarming story. It centers around three amazing people, John, Mary, and a young boy named Michael. We're going to map out their journey together, and by the end of this, I promise you're going to see a profound story of hope completely unfold. But before we get into the details of their actual lives, let me ask you something. Is blood the only thing that makes a real family? We hear that phrase, blood is thicker than water, all the time, right? It's so easy to just assume our truest bonds are biologically predetermined. But the story we're exploring today, it completely challenges that notion and in the most spectacular way. It really asks us to rethink the true, boundless definition of what a family actually is. Part 1. Bonds beyond blood. Okay, let's dive into this and look at exactly how these unexpected bonds were forged. We're actually going to start in a really peaceful, quiet little setting, far away from all the hustle and bustle. Meet our main characters, John and Mary. They're living this gentle, routine life down in a small town in Texas. Picture this. They're an adorable, elderly couple, both right around 75 years old. Now their own kids have already grown up, started families of their own, and moved away to other cities. So it's just John and Mary living quietly in their modest home. Every single morning, John is out front tending to his little garden, while Mary is inside baking these amazing cookies and cakes for the neighbors. They're super respected in their community, just living a kind, generous life. But as you'll see, they clearly had a whole lot of extra love left to give. Then one day at the local community center, that peaceful routine completely changes. Enter Michael. Mary notices this 12-year-old boy sitting entirely by himself. And guys, his story is just heartbreaking. Just a few years prior to this, Michael lost both of his parents in a really tragic car crash. Ever since then, he's been bouncing around, living in a foster home. Sure, he's surrounded by people, maybe, but his life is completely devoid of true love or any real sense of belonging. He's isolated, he's grieving, and just utterly alone in the world. That is, until Mary walks over to talk to him, simply trying to get him to smile. The speed and depth of the transformation that happens once Mary steps in, it is absolutely incredible. Before, Michael was trapped in this cycle of loneliness and grief. But Mary's small effort to just make him smile quickly turns into him visiting their home regularly. Suddenly, John is out in the yard teaching Michael how to play baseball, and Mary is inside cooking up his absolute favorite meals. For the very first time since his parents passed away, Michael finally feels like someone genuinely cares about him. The contrast is literally night and day. Part 2. A selfless sacrifice. So this beautiful new family dynamic is bringing so much joy to all three of them. But life, well, as it always does, throws a new, massive hurdle for them to overcome. One afternoon, John notices Michael sitting around looking incredibly down. When John asks what's wrong, Michael opens up about a really heavy burden. See, his college program is set to start the following year, but he has absolutely zero money to pay for it. He looks right at John and says he might just have to give up on his dreams entirely. It's a crushing moment, right? Think about it. Michael finally found some stability, only to smack right into a massive financial wall. And for John and Mary, remember, they're an elderly couple living on very limited savings, the question is agonizing. How in the world could they possibly help him? Well, their answer is nothing short of incredible. They literally do not hesitate. John takes his cherished classic car, a vehicle he'd lovingly maintained and kept for years and years, and he just sells it. Mary goes through her home, gathers up several of her most valuable personal possessions, and she sells them too. They pool together every single dollar from those sales and hand the entire shebang directly over to Michael to fund his education. Despite their limited savings, they made this massive, incredibly selfless sacrifice just to secure his future. When Michael finds out what they've done, his eyes just fill with tears. He is completely overwhelmed, and he asks them, why? Why did you do all this for me? Why give up your most prized possessions for a boy who just wandered into your lives from a community center?
Mary simply smiles at him, and her response is this beautiful quote, "Because every child should get a chance to fulfill their dreams." Wow. It is such a pure, profound statement of unconditional love. And upon hearing those words, Michael makes a silent, ironclad vow to himself right then and there. He promises that he will never, ever let their hopes break. Part 3. Success and true gratitude. From that exact moment of profound sacrifice, the entire trajectory of Michael's life shifts.
Let's move to this timeline and see how this builds because it's amazing. Time passes, and Michael works incredibly hard. He performs brilliantly in college, graduating with top marks. From there, he becomes a highly successful software engineer, even landing a fantastic job at a major US tech company. He actually achieved the dream that John and Mary sacrificed everything for. And that brings us to the culmination of his early success. A few years later, Michael decides to organize a grand, massive event in their city. The scale of this event is just huge. City officials are there, his old teachers are in the audience, and hundreds of people from the community have gathered in this massive hall. It's a major celebration of his journey and all of his achievements. The energy in the room is absolutely electric as Michael finally steps up to take the stage. But before he gives his standard speech, he does something completely unexpected. He calls John and Mary up to the stage with him. As this adorable elderly couple steps onto the stage, Michael drops down to his knees right in front of them, and he says this: "The world calls me successful, but my real success is you. You didn't just give me an education, you gave me a family." The entire hall just erupts into a thunderous, roaring applause. John and Mary are standing there, absolutely weeping with tears of joy. It's the ultimate realization of what their sacrifice truly yielded.
Part 4. Lesson of Humanity. It's such a breathtaking moment. But Michael's gratitude didn't just stop at a public acknowledgement. He knew that the love he received was way too big to just keep to himself. So, let's look at the final chapter of this story and the profound legacy it leaves us with.
To pay this incredible kindness forward, Michael establishes a charitable organization. He names it the John and Mary Hope Foundation. The sole purpose of this foundation is to help other orphans and children in need, exactly like he once was. By doing this, Michael permanently cements their legacy. He ensures that the world is going to forever remember these two elderly people who, without a single ounce of selfishness, completely changed the trajectory of a young boy's life.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core truth of our story, which was perfectly summed up by John on that day. Through his joyful tears, John said, "We have seen a lot in our lives, but the joy we feel today cannot be bought with any wealth. It is the ultimate proof that the greatest, most fulfilling wealth in this world doesn't actually come from keeping what we have. It comes from selfless giving." So the crucial point is really distilled into these three incredible takeaways. First, true love and compassion have the literal power to change futures. Second, selfless sacrifice is the ultimate gift you can offer another human being. And finally, the highest calling of humanity is to help others, entirely regardless of whether they share our blood relations or not. Family is what we choose to build through our actions.
Which leaves us with this final thought to carry with us. How can you apply this level of selfless kindness in your own community today? Now, you might not need to sell a classic car, but maybe there's someone sitting alone at your local community center right now. I highly encourage you to look around, find ways to build your own chosen families, and always look for the chance to pay it forward. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.